Introduction. The invisible thread. She can't break women rarely vocalize when a man has become truly irreplaceable in their world. They don't keep it secret from you out of deception. More often, they're concealing it from themselves. The evidence reveals itself not in their words, but in their actions. She ends the relationship and walks away. Yet, she never completely vanishes from your orbit. She enters a new relationship, curates a fresh online life, convinces herself she's fully moved on, and still an invisible thread keeps drawing her back to the same man. Have you ever observed this pattern? A woman who technically left, but never emotionally detached. Here's the raw, uncomfortable reality most men never get told. It isn't simple love. It isn't mere nostalgia. It isn't leftover, unfinished business. It's because at some point you created an imprint on her biology that her system cannot erase. Once that imprint exists, the idea of genuine replacement becomes a story she repeats to herself while knowing deep down it isn't true. This isn't about inflating your ego or selling you the fantasy that you're the one. It's about something far more practical. Learning to recognize when you genuinely occupy a position of power in a woman's psyche and why women hide. That you're irreplaceable, you're quietly losing it. The 9 signs you're about to read are not theories or wishful thinking. They are involuntary responses, things women do without full conscious awareness. If you want to understand women beyond surface-level words, stay with me. We'll go through this calmly, clearly, and without delusions. 1. She competes for you. When a woman views you as irreplaceable, a subtle but unmistakable shift occurs. She stops being willing to share you, even in the absence of any official commitment or label. This isn't about control or insecurity. On a deeper level, she has already categorized you as a high-value resource worth protecting. Most men misinterpret this behavior. They label instinctive competition as jealousy and see it as weakness. It isn't weakness. It's biology reacting to perceived scarcity. When your presence is calm, grounded, and self-directed, her nervous system registers you as rare. Rare things trigger protective instincts. She doesn't declare it. She doesn't strategize it. Her body simply acts before her rational mind catches up. You'll see it in small, easily overlooked moments. Another woman enters the room and suddenly she's standing closer to you. Her hand lingers on your lower back a fraction longer. She gently redirects your attention without the 9 signs overview. Biology over words uttering a word. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just quietly and naturally. This isn't possessive ownership. It's fear of genuine loss. Women do not compete for men they believe they can easily replace. They do not guard men they do not deeply value. Competition emerges only when her subconscious recognizes that losing you would mean losing something irreplaceable. And here's the part most men completely miss. You do not need to encourage or reward this behavior for it to appear. In fact, the moment you start seeking reassurance about it, the behavior fades fastest. The men women instinctively compete for never beg to be chosen. They carry themselves as though their value is already self-evident. A woman only begins competing when you've shifted in her mind from one of many options to a one. She competes for you, subtle protection instinct, potential irreversible loss. That's not romance, that's primal instinct. 2. She brings up the past. When a woman cannot replace you, the past refuses to stay buried. It resurfaces not out of sentimentality, but because her brain has archived you as an emotional landmark. Women don't recall experiences the way men typically do. They remember felt states, how they felt in your presence, the version of themselves they became around you. That's why the memories that return aren't the grand gestures or big events. They're the tiny, seemingly insignificant details, an inside joke only the two of you understood, the exact way you took your coffee, a random street you once walked together without much thought. Those moments are heavily charged with emotion, so they don't fade quietly. They bubble up when her defenses are lowered. Most men misunderstand this. When she mentions the past, they assume she's seeking comfort or trying to rekindle something. She isn't. She's testing for continuity, probing to see if the connection still exists on your end or if she's the only one still carrying it. That out of the blue message months later, the old photo sent without context, the casual remember when dropped into conversation. None of it is random. Her nervous system tied you to a unique emotional rhythm. Once that rhythm is established, neither time nor distance nor new partners fully dissolve it. The memory remains active because it's linked to how safe, alive, or grounded she felt around you. And here's what's uncomfortable for her. Every time she resurrects the past, she inadvertently reveals that you still occupy real estate in her inner world, even if she's telling everyone, including herself, that she's over it. You don't need to enthusiastically engage or dig deeper. The power lies in recognizing why she keeps reopening the door. Women do not repeatedly revisit memories that have lost all meaning. They revisit the ones that still carry a heartbeat. 3. She struggles to replace you. A woman can have endless options and still feel emotionally. 2. She brings up the past, emotional landmarks, stuck. That's the paradox most men fail to grasp. Attention is abundant. Validation is constant. True. Replacement, however, is extraordinarily rare. Replacement isn't about availability. It's about whether her body recognizes the same unique balance in someone new. Most men only provide half the equation. One offers safety and predictability, but feels flat and uninspiring. Another delivers excitement and uncertainty, but never feels trustworthy. Her nervous system is perpetually negotiating between security and stimulation. When a man delivers both in calibrated measure, something irreversible locks in. That combination doesn't merely impress her mind, it recalibrates her physiology. Her system adopts it as the new baseline standard. Once that standard is set, everything else registers as a downgrade, even if she intellectually refuses to admit it. That's why more options don't solve the issue. New men may appear superior on paper, more attentive, more available, more eager, yet her body doesn't respond the same way. The chemistry feels manufactured. The rhythm is wrong. She cannot fully relax into it. So she orbits, not always directly or consciously. She views your stories. She reacts quicker than intended. She remembers anniversaries that supposedly no longer matter. From the outside, it looks inconsistent. From the inside, it's quiet frustration. Her body keeps scanning for a signal it only ever found with you. She isn't missing you as a person in the sentimental sense. She's missing the internal state she accessed in your presence. The rare blend of grounded calm and electric pull. The way her system could simultaneously relax and ignite. That specific state is what makes replacement so difficult. You weren't simply another man in her life. You became a physiological pattern her body learned to rely on. Once that pattern is removed, every substitute feels like a pale imitation. 4. Her body reacts to you like a drug. 1 of 3. She struggles to replace you, the paradox of options. The most undeniable signs you've left a lasting imprint is how her body responds in your presence. Regardless of what her words claim, she might arrive stressed, irritated, or emotionally flooded. The instant you enter her space, something visibly shifts. That shift isn't emotional decision-making, it's biological regulation. When a woman experiences deep attraction with a man who leads calmly and confidently, her body learns to associate his presence with downregulation of stress, not escalation or volatility. During intimacy, she surrenders control and sinks to his rhythm physically and emotionally. Her breathing deepens, muscle tension releases, and her nervous system essentially hands over the res. Once conditioned, that response doesn't simply vanish. Later, outside any sexual context, your mere presence triggers the same cascade. Her shoulders drop, her voice softens, her agitation dissipates faster than it logically should. Not because she decided to calm down, but because her body remembers what happens when you remain steady. This is where the difference between men becomes stark. An unstable man gets dragged into her emotional turbulence. He mirrors it, tries to fix it or amplifies it. A grounded man remains anchored. That stillness becomes the dominant frequency. Imagine a heated moment, her tone sharp, emotions running high. Most men defend, withdraw, or escalate. You stay composed, voice low, pacing slow, energy unmoved. Suddenly, she follows suit, not because you won, but because her body recognizes the same steady authority it once trusted enough to surrender to. Your stability doesn't merely influence her mood, it resets her nervous system. Once her body links you to that reset, the reaction persists long after the original context is gone. 5. She tests you on purpose. If a woman is genuinely indifferent to losing you, she won't bother testing you. Indifference doesn't probe, provoke, or seek reactions. Testing only emerges when something irreplaceable feels at risk. Many men misread tests as disrespect or manipulation. In truth, they're unconscious verification. She's 4. Her body reacts to you like a drug, nervous system reset, checking whether the anchored man she bonded with is still present or whether he's devolving into reactivity and neediness. Like most others, tests take many forms. Casually mentioning another man, questioning your tone, manufacturing minor tension. She pushes just enough to see if you wobble. Most men fail here. They explain, defend, or compete with a phantom rival. The moment they do, the spell breaks. Not because they were factually wrong, but because they revealed that her emotions can displace their center. A man who remains centered doesn't take the bait. He responds slowly, sparingly, without irritation or over-explanation. Imagine she mentions an attractive coworker to gauge your reaction. Most men tense up. You meet her eyes calmly and say without edge, "I don't compete for attention," then continue as if the topic never arose. The test ends not because you verbally dominated her, but because you refuse to abandon your frame. Women do not test men they intend to discard. They test the ones who set the highest internal bar. Every test is her subconscious confirming that the man she bonded to still exists under pressure. The man who passes isn't the one who reacts most cleverly. It's the one who barely reacts at all. 6. She mirrors you. When a man is forgettable, a woman detaches cleanly. His influence ends. But when a man leaves a true imprint, she doesn't merely remember him. She begins absorbing him. This isn't conscious imitation or people-pleasing. It's unconscious alignment. Her nervous system has classified you as significant, so it integrates elements of you. Your phrasing, your cadence, your preferences. Over time, those elements quietly appear in her behavior. She uses expressions you favored. She develops affinity for things you introduced. Her style or opinions subtly shift to echo the atmosphere she experienced around you. Psychologically, this occurs when someone internalizes a higher standard. When a man occupies the 5, she tests you on purpose, verifying your frame, top position in her internal hierarchy. Her mind doesn't resist his influence. It incorporates it. You'll notice it in eerie moments. She describes something using your exact wording. She orders the drink you turned her on to. She voices opinions she once dismissed. When confronted, she'll often deny it, not because it isn't happening, but because she's unaware. Deep influence never announces itself. It simply takes root. Men who try to force mirroring never succeed. It only occurs when attraction has evolved from surface desire into internal calibration. Her system is quietly saying, "This feels correct. Keep more of it." People do not absorb traits from those they view as temporary. Mirroring reveals that she adjusted her inner world around you, and part of her has not readjusted back. You weren't just someone she dated. You became someone who altered how she navigates reality. 7. She shows you her dark side. There exists a raw, unfiltered version of a woman that most men never encounter, not because she maliciously hides it, but because it only emerges in the presence of profound psychological safety. When she perceives you as irreplaceable, the polished facade begins to dissolve. She stops presenting the curated version shown to friends, family, or casual suitors. With you, deeper layers surface. Her fears, contradictions, insecurities, thoughts she knows would overwhelm less grounded men. This isn't shock value or another test. It's trust at a depth rarely achieved. She senses you won't flinch, judge, or crumble under her full truth. Many men sabotage this moment. They six. She mirrors you, unconscious absorption, attempt to fix her, react emotionally, or betray subtle discomfort. The moment that happens, the vulnerability retracts. But when you remain steady, calm, present, unthreatened, she registers that you can contain all of her without losing your own center. Your self-worth doesn't require her to be easy, pleasant, or predictable. That realization deepens the bond irreversibly. Once she has revealed parts hidden from the rest of the world, she cannot unreveal them. The relationship has crossed a permanent psychological threshold. Very few men ever access this layer. When a woman grants it to you, you cease being interchangeable. Others may receive her time or attention, but almost none receive her unedited self. Replacement becomes profoundly complicated because she knows precisely what depth she would be surrendering. 8. Her body responds before her mind. When deep bonding has occurred, her body often betrays the truth long before her words catch up. She doesn't orchestrate it. She may not even notice, but if you're observant, it's unmistakable. Posture shifts when you enter. Voice softens involuntarily. Gaze lingers. These are not deliberate signals, they're conditioned reflexes. During peak attraction, her physiology linked specific neurochemical states: calm, arousal, surrender to your presence. Over time, you became the primary trigger. So when you reappear, the response fires automatically before logic or pride can intervene. Even if she's attempting indifference, her body undermines the performance. She angles toward you mid-con conversation with someone else. Her tone drops when 7. She shows you. Her dark side, profound trust, addressing you. Her movements slow in your vicinity. Most men fixate on verbal cues and miss the far more reliable physical ones. But the body doesn't lie. It follows what it has learned is both safe and stimulating. Once that conditioning is in place, no amount of rational override fully suppresses it. Her system recognizes you before her mind decides how she should feel. When the body has already chosen, words become secondary. 9. She admits no one measures up. Sometimes the clearest confirmation slips out verbally, unplanned, understated, almost offhand. She won't declare it dramatically, it emerges sideways. It just wasn't the same. I've never met anyone quite like you. I don't usually open up like that with anyone else. To her, these feel like casual observations. To someone who understands female psychology, they are monumental. She's revealing that you reset her internal benchmark. Every subsequent man has been measured against a standard she didn't consciously set but cannot lower, and none have cleared it. Notice the structure. These statements are rarely direct compliments. They are contrasts. She references others only to underscore the gap. She trails off because the implication is obvious. They fell short. 8. Her body responds before her mind. Conditioned reflexes. Women do not casually violate their own boundaries or standards. When she acknowledges acting differently with you, opening faster, trusting deeper, bending rules she normally enforces, it means your presence overrode her usual filters. That's not recklessness. That's internal hierarchy. In her private ranking, you didn't compete with other men. You displaced them entirely. You became the reference point. Everyone else started the race already behind. She doesn't say these things to lure you back. They escape when her guard is down, during moments of reflection or unplanned honesty. This is the final closing sign. Her actions suggested it. Her body confirmed it. And now, reluctantly, her words align with the deeper truth. When a woman admits no one else measures up, you no longer need to ask where you stand. You've become the benchmark her emotional world quietly revolves around, looking at all 9 signs together. The pattern is undeniable. None rely on romantic declarations, labels, or passionate promises. They are rooted in something far more enduring, biological and psychological imprint. When a woman cannot replace you, it manifests everywhere in how she instinctively guards you, how the past keeps. 9, she admits, no one measures up, the benchmark reset, resurfacing. How no new man fully occupies the space you left. How her body regulates around your steadiness, tests your frame when she cares, absorbs your influence, reveals her unfiltered self, reacts involuntarily, and eventually admits the irrefutable gap. This isn't about being chased forever. It's about having become anchored in her system. And here's the sobering truth most men avoid. This position only endures as long as you maintain your center. The instant you begin reacting, conclusion, maintaining the imprint through restraint, chasing, over explaining, or seeking validation, the dynamic shifts, not because her feelings vanish, but because you cease embodying the very qualities that created the imprint. Power of this nature isn't preserved through effort, it's preserved through disciplined restraint. If you recognize these signs in your own experiences, understand their weight. You were never just another option. You became the standard, but that status is protected not by proclamation, only by how calmly, consistently, and independently you continue to move through the world.